With New Bedford Guy, we're continuing on with our Meet the Candidates for the October 3rd election. Right now we have Maria Giesta for Ward 2. So, Maria, why should people elect you to office?
Hi, my name is Maria Giesta, as Mike just said, and I'm running for Ward 2 Councilor. First, I want to thank Steve Martins for his service, not only to the people of Ward 2, but the residents of the city. I grew up in Ward 2, and I lived there with my family. And luckily for me, I have a lot of the same neighbors and friends who live in the area. And the one thing that we have talked about in my experience walking through the city and meeting residents and business owners is public safety. And that is a big issue for Ward 2. I believe that we need to expand on the walk and talk program that the city has. Our police officers do an amazing job for its residents, but they need our help. I also believe that we need better lighting, not only better, but brighter lighting. There is a lot of darkness out there in the city. When you walk along the streets, it's just too dark, and I think people need to feel safe. The other thing is more cameras. I believe that criminals don't want to commit crimes if they're seen on camera. And again, public safety is a very, very important issue for the residents, and that is going to be something that I'm going to work very hard to fix in Ward 2. The other issue is the appearance of our neighborhoods, our streets, and our sidewalks. I believe that we need to have more garbage bins laid out, put out into the neighborhoods along Acushnet Avenue, down on above Ashley Boulevard, Acushnet, Belleville Avenue, Wood Street. Those are very heavy trafficked areas, and I believe that people, when they are coming out of a restaurant or a store and they need a place to throw their newspapers or garbage. Also, I live near Brooklawn Park, and I see it every day walking my mother's dog, where there's bottles and soda bottles and little nips and trash. And luckily for the neighborhood, we have neighbors who go out there and clean it up. And again, I think that is something that we need to work on. And lastly, I really truly believe that taxes in the city, both for the resident and for the business owner, is a little bit too high. We need to find ways to bring revenue into our city so that we don't scare away our residents and business owners. There are a lot of people who live in Ward 2 who are elderly, and they live on a fixed income, and it would be very difficult for them. It is very difficult to them to pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a year. So there's a lot to be done, but there's also a lot of good things in Ward 2. We have a great group of people that live there. We have neighbors who work hard and raise their families, and we need to continue that. And I believe that I am the person that can do that, especially with my experience, and I know how to talk to people. I don't have all the answers, and I want to be able to bring the residents of Ward 2 into the discussion, and that will be one of the first things that I'll do. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and please remember to vote on October 3rd, and hopefully you'll vote for me. Thank you.
Okay, we got a question from Kaya. So she says, the new charter school on Belleville, there are no parking signs in the new front, but no one regulates. Traffic on Belleville has gotten so bad because of the school's new pickup area. It's an accident waiting to happen. So how do you feel about that?
Well, it's good to know. I didn't know that, so that is definitely something we should look into, and I would love to speak with her. My phone number is 508-207-3085. Please call me, and we can definitely talk about that and see how we can fix that problem.
So Len keeps asking, he's asked pretty much all night. So the current city council, he says, is against MGLC 32 sections, which is a piece of legislation that allows the city to select health insurance plans based on the state's group insurance commission standards. He's saying it will save $3 to $5 million. Are you willing to explore the option to reduce the tax burden? So I guess he's looking for, if you look at the budget, pensions and healthcare cost a lot.
Right.
I would say, would you be supportive of some way to reduce that?
Well, as a public servant, I know what it's like. That's the first place that you're going to look at is the city employees. And that's an easy way out. I think, we need to come together as a community, work with the mayor and the city council together and see how we can resolve that issue. I'm not going to, unless, I need to take a look at this and see what it entails. I'm not going to give a answer without really knowing the specifics of that. But I do know that we need to sit down with the mayor and the city council and discuss this further.
Okay, so you're running for ward office. So what's the biggest concern for Ward 2 residents?
It's public safety, and nobody should be afraid to come out of their house. Nobody should be afraid to walk outside. We have a problem with prostitution, drug addicts. We do have shootings, we do have stabbings, and that's the reality. It's not a perception. You can ask anybody who lives in Ward 2, especially in the areas that are affected, the Bullitt Street, Holly Street, Nye, North Front Street, Tallman. Those are the people to talk to, and they'll tell you that the fear and the crime is a reality for them.
So Kaya says she's going to call you. She says go out there at 4 o'clock and you'll see the safety issues.
Okay.
Okay, so also even the city council for Ward also represents the city. So what's the biggest concern for the city of New Bedford?
I think probably taxes. I hear from many business owners and residents that they pay a lot of taxes, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. We have a lot of people in this city who live on a fixed income, and paying that kind of money a year is just scaring them away. And so we need to work on trying to bring in more revenue to the city. And again, that is something I want to work with the mayor and the other members of the city council to see, and not just them, business owners, to see what we can do to, make New Bedford look promising to businesses. So that is something very definite that I want to work on.
So Doreen talks about, so you talked about the crime, the prostitution. What she wants to know is you talked about the problems, but what are you going to do to change it? Like, is there any solutions you have kind of in mind?
Well, I think like what I said, the walk and talk program, this has been going on for a while. This is not just something that's happening overnight. So we really have to take a look and see what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. And we need more of a community involvement in those areas. People are afraid, I get it. They don't want to be known as the snitch in the neighborhood. So what can we do? The police do an amazing job in trying to reach out to a lot of the people that live in those areas. And I think that, again, the walk and talk program needs to be expanded. And it's not going to be easy. When you see things out in the open during the day, never mind at night, that's scary. So what do you do about that? How do you come together and resolve that? And that's something that I want to work on with the citizens and the residents of Ward 2, along with the mayor. And, the chief of police. We have to bring everybody in and see what we can do. And the other wards, it's not just Ward 2, because this will flow into your ward. So let's work together. I don't want to constantly be arguing or fighting the other counselors because my ward is more has more issues than yours, there's more crime in mine. We have to come together as a city.
So city councilors write motions. Do you have any in mind when you first take office?
No, because I think the first thing I want to do when I take office is to sit down with the mayor and the other members of the city council and discuss what we can do together to resolve many of the issues. A lot of people are upset, and let me say right away, there's a big distinction between landlords and absentee slumlords. And that is something that we need to take a look at. I think the housing court needs to do a better job in what it does. When there is an ongoing problem with the same tenant in the same building, they're being raided time after time. Does it really need to take 8 times for you to do something? It should be the minimum of 2 or 3. We do have to be careful about renters' rights. There's a reason why we have that law in the book. So let's, walk a very fine line with that, but we need to work with our state representatives and our state senators to see how we can resolve the issue of, absentee landlords.
So I take it you don't agree with the problem property ordinance today, or it needs to be improved?
It needs to be improved, absolutely. I mean, I understand, they tried to do something, but then they just weakened it way too much. So but again, it's not just the ordinance, it has to be working with the housing courts, the judges that just put these people back out on the streets. When there's an ongoing issue with the same property, something has to be done.
So you ran for mayor 2 years ago. The mayor and the city council seem to kind of be at odds many times. Do you see yourself working with the mayor pretty well, or
Sure,
not working with him?
absolutely. I don't see why we couldn't work together. That will be my job. My job is not to not work with him or the other members of the council. It is to work together. We're going to disagree on issues and maybe how to approach a way to fix things, but that's what I'm going to be elected for, is to work with everyone. So anybody who is saying no, I disagree with you vehemently.
Okay, final question. What's the best thing about New Bedford?
Oh, it's the people. It's always been the people. New Bedford is a great place to live. It has a lot to offer. Wonderful, hardworking people, like my parents and my family who came here in the 60s for an opportunity. And, their children, including me, we took that and we tried to better our lives, become an important part of the community, and that's the most important thing, is the people of New Bedford are the best.
Actually, I'm going to ask one more because we have brought this up a lot. Panhandlers, is there a solution?
That's a very tough issue. Yes, there's a solution, and no, there isn't. You're going to have to walk a very fine line legally about panhandlers, in the sense of it's a public, especially if they're on the sidewalk, on the corner. It's a public sidewalk. I think the one way that we can resolve or try to resolve the issue is not giving them money. I listened to the chief a few weeks ago, I believe, talking with you when you interviewed him, and I thought that was a very good idea, where instead of giving them money, give them a sandwich, give them, something to drink. But there are those people that think, listen, if I want to give somebody $1, that's my right as an American citizen to give them $1. But you are putting not only them, but the people that are in their cars or walking by. It can be a, safety issue. So we need to do more for our homeless and people who find or believe that that's the only way that they can make their money. There has to be a better solution for them. And again, I'm willing to sit down with anybody to see what we can do to help.
Okay, so this was Ward 2 candidate Maria Giesta. Up next at 6:45 is Stephen Catton, excuse me. And thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate it.